2026. It's new year, new us, new habits, hopefully. But just let me know in the chat as we go, and I'd love to turn this into a conversation. So we are going to get started. Well, welcome everybody to the Social Strategy Playbook for January 2026. I know, new year, new us, it's crazy. This is presented by Social Coach, and I am your host, Ashley Music. I'm the Director of Communications. So for anyone who hasn't been to one of these sessions before, what we tend to cover is we go over any new content creation tips that have been shared by experts in the field, leaders of the social media platforms themselves. I just collect any sort of buzz that I'm hearing that I think has merit and credibility, and I put it into this presentation so you guys don't have to do all that research yourself. Then I go through all of the social media updates and I make sure that I choose the ones that I think actually matter. So I'm sure we all know the platforms update every single month. There's a million different things. I don't think everyone cares about every little update. So I pull out the big ones that I think will actually impact your strategy, put them in this presentation. And then at the end, we go over 4 trending videos that I've pulled that I think are easy to do, relevant, and really easy to tailor to your specific niche. So we're going to go over all of that at the end. Let's do it. And if anyone is sitting here going, wow, this is great, I learned something new, or if you're someone who's like, hey, I really have a New Year's resolution to post more on social media, but I never know what to post about. Your content idea, first one of the year, is take a learning from today's our whole meeting today, our strategy session, and go ahead and post that either on LinkedIn. You can tag us and say, hey, this was a really cool learning. Let's start a discussion. Or you can take one of the trends that we're going to share today, make a video and post that, and that can be your first idea of the year. So for anyone who wants those ideas, you can feel free to repurpose anything from this presentation. It's all for you, but we'd love if you tag us if you're continuing the conversation. We love to be part of it. And for anyone who doesn't know us, we're Social Coach. So our platform is designed to make social selling simple for both individuals and enterprise teams. So we have video scripts, we do professional editing for you, we automate it and schedule your content to all the platforms so that you don't have to worry about posting to Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and doing it all yourself. And then we have a lot more for enterprise teams with built-in compliance, campaigns, all of that. So if you have questions, you want to learn more, feel free to comment, demo, or reach out to our team, and we'd be happy to walk you through the platform at any point. But all right, now that we've gotten all that out of the way, let's get into 2026 content and strategy shifts. So the biggest thing before we get in, I'd like to ask, and I think this is really going to help our conversation today, is if you want to comment or put in the chat, what is one social media goal or habit that you want to prioritize this year? I think this is really important for your social strategy. If you don't know what you're working towards, it's really hard to then end up putting out content that achieves those goals. So are you looking to get more views, more followers? Are you simply like, I need to post a video for the first time ever? Those are all super valid goals. I would love to see them. Lily, she says videos. Brandy, consistency. Consistency is my favorite. I think that's going to be my word for this year. The more consistent you are, the better. Even if that's low volume, even if that's, hey, once a week, once a month, if you can do something and stick with it, you're going to build healthy habits that are going to make it a lot easier to do that over time. Videos and authenticity. Kayla, I love that. Chet, more followers. I feel you. Let's try to help you get there. Phil, great to see you. Consistency. I saw you doing that last year. You were doing great. And Christian, post consistently. That's your word of 2026 as well. I love that. And I'm going to end on this one, Robin. Videos that bring value. I think that's so important. So let's talk through what value actually means, because I do think that that's something that is shifting a bit as we go into a new year. So first and foremost, biggest news that came out, and this was over kind of the holiday break, so a lot of people probably missed it, but Adam Mosseri, he's the head of Instagram, and he's someone who I really respect when he speaks up on a topic, because I can tell he's very thoughtful about it. And as the leader of Instagram, I don't think he shares things lightly. So he doesn't confirm rumors, deny rumors, unless he really knows that he can clarify some confusion. And so this is one that was really big. He spoke up about kind of AI and authenticity. And really what he was highlighting is that he's like, as we see more and more AI content coming into the feed, coming into content creation, videos, everything, users are increasingly turning to raw and authentic content. Stuff that feels human, stuff that feels like, oh, there's no way an AI bot could have made this, right? Because we've even, I'm sure, who I'd love to see, I know raised hands doesn't work, but thumbs up in the chat if you have fallen for an AI video already in the last year or so, because I did. There was a bunch of like rabbits on a trampoline, right? Or you see those Ring doorbell videos that look like it's a camera from outside. A lot of those are AI now. So heads up, if you see anything weird with weird animals doing things out of character, it's probably AI. So it's probably fake, which is okay. But that kind of lets us, thank you for everyone validating me in the chat saying, yeah, me too. It's not just me, but hey, I'm Gen Z. So if it can get me, it can get anyone, right? But the whole point here being that as we have less trust in what people are saying, what people are putting out there on social media, having something that feels raw and authentic and like only you could do it is more valuable. So a big takeaway I want people to have today, especially those of you who are nervous about video, who are like, oh, I hate the way I look and the way I sound and I mess up all the time. That is actually an asset. In today's world, imperfection makes you feel authentic, makes you feel human. So this doesn't mean that you can't, cut out your ums and ahs, or you have to post a take with no edits and no mistakes. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're chasing this really perfect, polished look and you're saying, well, I don't feel 100% like that looks amazing, I think that actually shows a lot of authenticity, right? When we have the tech issues, when we bumble through, when we stumble over sentences, we're still providing value, but it's showing that we're human and that it's really coming from us. And I think that is such an important thing to have and to remember in your content so that you're not letting perfection win out over progress, right? So those of you saying, I need to get started on video, I need to be more consistent, I want to be valuable. Don't let the idea of, I have to be perfect and polished and professional get in the way of that. We want you to be fun. We want you to be a little messy. We want to hear the behind the scenes stuff of, this almost went wrong, but I saved it. Or, hey, I was planning to do more content today, but my kids it was a messy day. That stuff is real. It's relatable. And we want to see more of that. And that's kind of just what Adam Mosseri was talking about. They're going to be doing more AI labeling in Instagram. There's a lot more that I think we're going to see from the platforms themselves. But I'm like, if the head of Instagram himself is kind of saying, hey, Instagram's old, polished, perfect look isn't the way to be anymore, it's something we really want to be paying attention to and using in our strategy moving forward. So don't be afraid of being unfiltered. Don't be afraid of being authentic and raw. And who cares if you're sitting in your car or it's not the best quality video? I'd rather you post it and get the value and the information out there rather than holding it back because you're waiting to be perfect and professional. So thumbs up if we feel like we can do that going into this year. I would love to see, or drop your favorite emoji. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, but would love to see if everyone's like, yep, we're doing that raw, unfiltered. We're not going to let the perfection get in the way. And this whole message was actually also validated by the VP of product at LinkedIn. So that person also was saying, hey, we've seen trends in the types of content and posts that people want. And that is not just industry news, but your perspective on that news, right? Which is something I preach a lot, especially for anyone who's gone through boot camp, right? I always say, I'm like, don't just give me the headline. I want to hear your opinions. I want to hear if you think it's a good idea or a bad idea. Because, and I'm quoting Megan Handy from Embrace on this. She had a quote from last year that I loved. And she said, you need to give people context, not just information. So I talk about this a lot, right? In the age where you can Google anything, you can ask ChatGPT anything, you can get information. The problem is this good advice? Is this accurate information? Is this really what I should be following? Or is this a national trend versus, what's going on in my local market? Is this still accurate to me? So you guys have this really unique position, and your value comes from not just, hey, here's a bunch of information that you could have pretty much found on your own, but the context, the experience, this is actually really good advice, but only in this specific circumstance, right? Only for this specific buyer type, or, in whatever local area that this is. If your market's doing this, you should follow this advice. But if you're over here, you shouldn't. That's the stuff that only you guys can do. ChatGPT can't quite do that. And even if it can, I don't know if I trust it, right? You guys, you have the face, the trust, the expertise. You are the people we want to listen to. So in today's day and age, try not to just give information. 3 tips to save up for a down payment. All right, that's good info. But can you say, hey, here are the 3 tips that my clients always swear by that they didn't know before I worked with them? Oh, well, now this is really unique advice. And hey, Kayla, her 3 tips might be really different from Martin or Matthew or Chet or Peter or anyone on this call. You might all have 3 different tips. But if you just say the best down payment tips, I'm going to assume it's a lot more generic. So taking that, making it personal, keeping it all together. Yep. Thank you for the muscles, Karen. I like seeing that we're committing to authentic, real perspectives, information, context. So then you can keep going with that informative context, right? Put that all in there. And then your stories. So I know a lot of us are a little hesitant to share these, but if you have really good stories of, hey, I had a buyer where this happened, I want to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. Or, hey, this buyer thought they couldn't buy for 6 months until they talked to me. We did X, Y, and Z, and now they're about to close on their dream house 2 months later. Oh my gosh, right? So those are the stories you can bring that, again, people can't find just by Googling. So whatever you can bring that only you can share or only people in your area of expertise can share, that is a lot of where your value lies. So those are some really, really big shifts and trends going into 2026. And apologies if I'm seeing on my screen kind of a red X over the slide, and I'm not really sure why. So there we go, everybody. Authentic mistakes in content. But I just wanted to put up some video examples of what that looks like for everyone. And essentially, instead of making it super generic, these videos just take a tiny little twist on that. So instead of saying 10 things I would never do in my home, they add the context of after working in real estate for 13 years. Oh, well, now suddenly you have a lot more authority. I trust your opinion. That makes more sense to me. Or something really specific, like the weird thing that I always do before submitting an offer for my buyers that almost always leads to an accepted offer. That's kind of fun. I want to know. That makes you unique. That helps you stand out from the person sitting next to you, the person who is also on this same call, right? If you can make it unique and different, that's going to be really valuable. And if you can call out identifiers and speak to your audience directly. I think a lot of us like to say, oh, well, I want to work with everyone. Okay, but then you're not really speaking to anyone. So a big trend in content this year is getting so specific. So saying like, hey, I help homebuyers who are getting divorced and don't really want to be selling their house, but I'm going to make that process easier and I know how to deal with those emotions. Oh my gosh, okay, that's something really valuable that now, again, you've stood out to me as opposed to the other person just saying, here's how to do a bridge loan or here's how to do VA loans, right? I'm sitting there going, oh, you understand what I'm going through. That's why I want to work with you. So in your content, if you can be saying I like this one, we're getting a divorce, we're having a baby, we want to move to this specific place. She walks in the door, nice, simple video. But all of that is getting really specific in a way that is going to help your content a lot instead of just staying with these generic 3 tips for this, 3 ways to this, 5 ways to this. Try to make it really, really personal. And I think that's going to do really well for all of you. Okay, the next tip that I've been seeing all over the place, and this is something that I'm sure I've talked about in bootcamp. I know people know about this tip, but this is something that even brands are starting to pick up on. So if you're sitting there like, well, this feels hard because I'm not really an influencer and I don't really know how to do this, I'm going to give you some examples. But episodic content or series content. This is so important because it's like a TV show, right? You know, once you've watched a couple episodes of Friends, you know the characters, you know what the plot of the arc is going to kind of look like. And every episode's a little bit different, new information, new stories, but you know what to expect when you show up. And that's why we keep going back, right? It's comforting, it's easy, there's a template. So on 2 sides of this is really good for your audience. This makes it really easy for them to say, oh my gosh, Martin, whenever Martin posts his market update Mondays, I know exactly how it works. He shows up dressed like a news anchor. He gives 3 of the top high hitting points in the market. He gives a quick debrief and then he logs off and it's like a 30-second video. But every Monday I'm tuning in because I know Martin's going to be there with his market update, right? That's a series content that someone can look forward to. And this doesn't have to be every week. It doesn't have to be even on a specific day or specific cadence. This is something that you could just say, hey, whenever this event happens, I'm going to do this type of video or this type of content. And the best part is it also helps you. It helps you stay consistent. It's like a TV show, right? If you know, oh, I'm going to start every one of these with the same hook, but with whatever updated information there is, I'm going to give 3 bullet points. And then I say, call to action, subscribe to my newsletter for more. There you go. That's going to be a really easy video to sustainably create over and over and over for you, right? And it's going to feel like second nature. It's going to feel easy. And then it's what you become known for. So this year, I encourage everyone, try to start a signature series that feels like you. This should be something you're excited to talk about, right? Something you're like naturally, what is something that you could talk about for an hour without being interrupted, right? Or at every open house, it just happens to come up because you love going back to that topic. That's a really good thing to turn into a series. And if you need some ideas, I think listing spotlight series. So doing something unique with a listing, great idea. Process breakdown. So maybe you're like, hey, I do some unique things in the mortgage process with my clients. Or maybe it's even just like most of my clients come to me and they don't even know what the mortgage process looks like. I'm going to make a 10-part video series where I get really granular and each video is super short, super quick, but I just really talk through, here's what I want you to show up with, here's what we're going to talk about, and then here's what you're going to walk away with at each stage in the process. So you know exactly what to expect when you're working with me in particular. that's going to lend a lot of people to saying, oh, well, now that I know exactly what that looks like, Kayla, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to say, all right, let's get started. I'm ready to do that first meeting, right? So episodic series content. And then the storytelling stuff, I think a great way to structure that, because I think a lot of us, right, are like, oh, well, if I just do a story every time I have a client, they're going to know exactly who I'm talking about or what's going on, and that can get uncomfortable. I would really recommend just having a bucket or a category. So something like, hey, every Friday, I'm going to answer an FAQ. So all week, I'm going to write down all the questions my clients ask me, no matter how basic they are. And at the end of the week, I'm going to pick one to answer every Friday. And I'm going to do that. It's going to be consistent, easy video every week. That's my series, and I'll stick with it. And then the best part is all you have to do is stick a little part 1, part 2, part 3 on that video so people know, oh my gosh, if I'm 5 Fridays in and it's part 5 of answering client questions, here's a really good one I got this week. Well, now I'm going to go watch parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 because that seems like really valuable information, right? So it's all really easy. It's just about restructuring and reframing the way you do content to make it really easy for you and for your audience. I have a quick question from Lily. What is the best length for a video? That's a great question. I would say, from what I've seen data-wise, videos over 60 seconds tend to perform better or get better engagement overall. Now, I would say it depends on your goals. If you want a lot more views, shorter videos tend to do better just naturally, right? Especially ones where it's really like 10 seconds or less and you've got a little bit of text on screen or a lot of text on screen that people are having to read and those loop over and over. That's going to be really good for driving views, right? Because it's a short video. It's easy for people to watch the whole thing while they're reading the caption or whatever. And then that gets pushed out a lot more. But if you're looking for more engagement, more in-depth educational videos, I would say 60 to 90 seconds is a pretty good sweet spot. And then if you're really, really, really going like, hey, this is a hyper-specific situation that requires a lot of detail, you can do up to 3 minutes in a video, but I would make sure you have really good visuals. You know, you're switching up the angle here and there so there's stuff for people to look at. Or you're putting it somewhere like YouTube where you can put it into a playlist and help with that search visibility. So it really depends across the board. But I would say short form, we tend to recommend 30 to 90 seconds is a really good sweet spot for basically any video. And if it's longer than that, longer than 3 minutes, I typically say that should then be broken up into multiple videos, right? If you're like, oh, well, I just can't fit it all in one in under 90 seconds, then you're probably talking about at least 2 things, maybe even 3, and maybe you've got bullets. Just make each bullet a video in itself, right? And then they can be nice, short, and sweet, makes nice, easy, more content for you, and it's nice, and it'll work out well. Another question, how many times should we post a week? Are there certain times you recommend? Steven, you're speaking my language. I talk about this in bootcamp a lot. And if anyone hasn't done bootcamp, wants to join, it's free. It happens every month. So if you want to comment bootcamp or put it in the chat, we'll make sure you get the info there. But how many times you should post a week? If you're looking for consistent growth, the recommended amount is 3 to 5 times per week, because then you're not going more than 2 days between posts. I usually recommend a Monday, Wednesday, Friday cadence. All of that's really good. However, consistency is more important than frequency. I'm always going to emphasize that. So if you start and you're like, I'm going to post 5 times a week, and you do that for 3 weeks, and then things get busy, you drop off, and then you don't post for a month, that's not really going to help you. If you post even 1 time per week, but you stick with it for a couple months, you're going to see like 400% more engagement on every single post that you share. So I would much rather you start kind of lower quantity with good quality, and then you ramp up as you get comfortable. But if you're someone who's like, hey, I'm already on the grind, I'm already posting a good amount, but what's the sweet spot? 3 to 5 posts on every platform per week is the ideal, and that's going to help make sure. Lily, the next boot camp starts in February. So it always starts the first week of the month, and then I do 4 segments. And so it's one hour coaching session per week, and we walk through different things. So week 2 is all about video ideas and structure. Week 3 is a lot about content strategy. Week 4 is about analytics. So it's kind of a whole thing that you walk through. I'm hopeful that one of my CS friends from Team Social Coach can drop the link in the chat. If you're on Instagram, go ahead and comment bootcamp and we can get that link to you. And if you're on YouTube watching this later, comment bootcamp. We'll make sure you get the link. But the next one will start the first week of February. So I believe it's February 4th. So if you get that link, it'll have all the details there and you will make sure to have that. More questions. I love this. Keep them coming. Are the short reels still a good idea, like 7-second videos using B-roll? Yes. So I would say you want a good mix of video lengths and content. I would say that, yes, there's definitely value in the short, like 10 seconds or less, either trending videos like I'll share at the end of this call, or your B-roll is where, you're at your desk typing and you put text on the screen and it's a lot of info to read. I wouldn't do those all the time, all day, every day, because I think people do tend to get fatigued by that, right? People have started to pick up, hey, if you just say, quick 3-second video, read the caption, it's a really long caption. Some people will read it if it's valuable enough, but you have to be a really good writer. And if you do that all day, every day, people are going to be like, all right, I'm done. This is too much info. So what I really recommend is a variety. You can do one of those to kind of get engagement on Monday. That'll maybe get more views. Then you do kind of an in-depth educational video later in the week that's a little bit longer. That hopefully gets you comments and conversation and engagement. And then maybe you do like a fun Friday video or a series content that is also kind of garnering you more followers, more engagement, more things there. Oh, thanks, Kel. Kel says boot camp's awesome. I appreciate that. We do our best over here. So yeah, anyone who wants all that info, we'll make sure that that's dropped in the chat. And then Steven's asking, are these posts a mix of videos, images, reels, etc.? Yes, I would highly recommend. So if it's 3 to 5 posts per week, that can be a whole mix. Technically, I even would count if you're posting on your story, especially if you're a beginner. I think that counts. If you're posting, you're visible, the algorithm is seeing that. It's a great way to just staying consistent. But yes, if you're posting an image, that counts as a post. If you're posting a reel, that also counts as a post. If you're posting something different on your story, like a, hey guys, here's what I'm up to today, that counts too. So that would be 3 posts right there. If you want to do that 3 times in a day, in a week, you could do whatever you like, but 3 to 5 per week is the sweet spot. And then Peter wants to know, what are your thoughts on starting a YouTube channel or adding content on YouTube? I highly recommend adding, especially if you're already doing video content, put that on YouTube. YouTube has really, really great SEO capability, so search engine optimization, right? So if you guys want your videos to be showing up in Google searches, indexed in ChatGPT and other AI tools, definitely I think it's worth putting them on YouTube. I will say the effectiveness of your YouTube results and videos often comes with how you title and caption your videos. So if you're putting in the right keywords, if you're putting in keywords that people are actually searching for, or, kind of if you're answering questions, right? Everyone's searching in chatbots or like, what's the best type of mortgage to get from me if I'm this person in this location? If you have a YouTube video that says the best type of mortgage for this type of client in this state, your video might get sourced or referenced or is more likely to get pulled up. So if you're just posting it like mortgage tips, and that's the title of your video, you probably won't see the most results. But if you're being really deliberate with how you label those when you put them on YouTube, you can see a lot of great info. Yes, and the link for bootcamp was dropped there. I'm going to make sure that that's shared on Instagram as well, since I know we have some friends who are joining us live on other platforms. So if you're on any other platform where you aren't seeing this link, come find us on YouTube, or you can email me marketing@socialcoach.io, and we'll make sure you get all of that info. But this is great. So thank you all for the questions. I love seeing this. And really quick, I'll just jump to the next slide to show you some examples of different video series. So one of them, I'm hopefully a lot of you have seen these. I love this woman who did where I would play hide and seek in each of her listings. And she turned that into a series where with every single listing, she would jump in and just be like, here's how I'd play hide and seek. And I've seen people try to replicate this. I've seen people try to kind of do the same thing. Yep, Kayla, I love the hide and seek lady. She's amazing. And it makes her so memorable, right? Even if we don't know her name, we know who she is. And we're like, she seems really fun and great to work with. And a lot of her videos have millions upon millions of views. So that's a really great example of taking something that you do probably every day or a lot very often in your line of work, and then just putting a little twist on it to have fun with it and make it different and make it more about you and the way you would want to present that information. And it can do really, really well, especially if it's something fun or funny. Another great example is Jordan Nutter. I'm sure we're all very familiar with her as well. She's very, very prolific influencer in the mortgage space. But what she does is she does skits. And each skit, she'll kind of break into parts and make it into a story about clients, either what to do, what not to do. So in this one, how many cars, part 1, you can kind of assume they're buying a bunch of cars, more than one car, while, under escrow or waiting for their loan to go through. So already she's building intrigue. We're kind of going, oh, I know how that's going to go, and I want to stick around for more of that. So she does just skit series content where she knows I'm going to do skits at least once a month. Those can be one part or multiple parts, and it's telling a story to get people engaged, right? And then these series can also be something really, really simple that you just repeat over and over. So I think a lot of us think, oh, well, it can't be too repetitive. Well, I found this series that this realtor, I believe, is doing, and he goes, how much your monthly mortgage payment would be if you bought a house this year, lists it all out, puts a couple little information or disclaimer at the bottom right, uses his caption to be like, hey, this isn't promised or guaranteed, do everything you need to do to be compliant. But then he just posts a video exactly like this every month, once a month, and they all do pretty well. So it's something where you don't always have to change the whole format or the exact thing. I would even love to see this, how much your monthly mortgage payment would be in this county or in this state for 2026, right? And then you could do one for every state. You could do one for every county in California if you're, licensed in California. So you can take a simple concept and turn it into a series really easily. And then that is more niche in a way that will bring in more interest depending on those niche, right? Instead of just, hey, I can't give you numbers because I don't know where you are. Hey, here's some ballpark numbers for this specific area. If that's not you, odds are people are going to reach out and say, well, what about Kansas? What about Orange County? What about Utah? Right? You're going to get those questions, and then you can just make a video, be like, okay, I'll do the same thing, but for Utah. There's your next piece of content. People want it and are asking for it. It's a great way to do it. So just wanted to show you guys, there's a million different types of series content out there. And these can also be fun. I've seen people do, hey, we go on a date night every Friday. I'm just going to show you what restaurants we go to and a quick rating. It doesn't always have to be so closely tied to mortgage and real estate, but it should be something that is either building your community, making you relatable, showing off your expertise, something that just kind of makes people want to work with you in whatever way, shape, or form, right? So whatever you want to do, different series, but I would really highly recommend this year trying to think about it. It doesn't have to be right away, but think about what would be a fun series that I wouldn't mind doing every month, every week, whatever it is, something that you're not going to get bored of 6 months in, because believe me, if you do a series every week, 6 months in starts to feel like, oh man, I'm running low on ideas. But if you power through and you stick with it, it's going to feel really good and you're going to feel like you have a lot to work with. So if you like an action plan for 2026, here are the 3 things I want you guys to focus on the most in your content. Number 1, I want you to try to focus on making your content searchable. So that means when you're writing your scripts, when you're writing your captions, when you're deciding on your topics, I want you to phrase it like you're either answering questions that clients ask, things that people would type into Instagram, type into TikTok or Reddit or Google or wherever. And they're not going to sit there and say, down payment assistance, I don't know. You got to make it specific, right? You want to make it something like, down payment assistance programs in Kansas for this type of buyer, right? You got to get that specific with it. So again, we're avoiding the very generic 3 down payment tips, or here's this. You want to say, here are the best down payment assistance programs I would recommend for this type of buyer in this place, right? We're getting really, really niche with it. So searchable. Then I want you to focus on quality engagement metrics. So I know we all love to get our likes. We all like to see high views, but I really want you to focus, especially if you're someone who wants to do really well and see growth with your content. Watch time is going to be a really big one. How long are people watching your content? And if that number's low, if it's only like 3 seconds or less, that's the number one thing I want you to focus on getting up. Because the longer people watch your videos, the more your call to actions are going to work, the more they're likely to sit and stop and comment, and the more all of the other metrics are going to rise in as you get that watch time up, right? So watch time's number 1, which is hand in hand with retention. And then saves and shares are really big indicators for valuable content. If you get a lot of saves or shares on something, say, ooh, what went well with that? Let me do it again. Let me turn that into a series. Let me try in a different angle, a different way. Maybe I'm outside, I'm at my desk, whatever it is. Keep going. If you're seeing something get traction and get shares, repeat it and do it over and over again. And then the last thing I want you guys to focus on is staying audience centric. So this is making sure your content is relevant to your audience and is something your audience cares about. And I think that's one of the hardest things, both as marketers and as individuals, right? It's really easy to make content that other people find relatable, right? I bet we could make videos that everyone on this call would be like, oh my gosh, that's so relatable. That's so funny, right? Pain points as a loan officer, pain points as an agent. And with a lot of trends, that's what I see with people doing is they take the trend and they make it funny to them. And then they share it. And then they're getting a lot of comments from agents and LOs and people going, oh, this is so funny and relatable. Yes, that's so me. But they're not really attracting the clients that they want. And so to me, I would just, if you can focus on what would my client find funny, what would make them feel validated or good or relatable, that's going to be a harder perspective and angle to keep at the center of your focus throughout the year. So that's something I'd really try to focus on and hold tight to your center as you do your social strategy and you think about content. Oh, Lily, how do I deal with mean people or people who make mean comments? That's a really great question. I would say, first and foremost, any sort of engagement and comment, it's not going to sound like a compliment, but I would try to internalize it a little bit as a compliment of, hey, I did something that they took 5 minutes out of their day to make that comment. So first and foremost, it's a win for you because them commenting, even if it's not a nice thing to say, is helping your video do better or your post do better. So first and foremost, hey, thanks for commenting, right? You can always say that, hey, appreciate the perspective. I don't necessarily agree. You can be kind. You can disagree. You can share your real opinion. I would try to avoid being rude. I would try to avoid, being mean back, anything like that. But if someone says, hey, I don't agree with this, or this is wrong, or you don't know what you're talking about, I think you can be really respectful, but still defend yourself and kind of say, hey, I appreciate that perspective. I'm just out here trying to inform my clients, and this is where I got my information from, but really appreciate you having a different perspective here. Great. Honestly, it helps you come off better to your audience. If I saw someone responding that way, I'd probably be like, wow, good for them, and it just gives you credibility. So you're not just sitting there being like, I feel like I'm being unfortunately bullied, which hopefully you're not. I hope that's not happening to anybody. But let's see. I once had a person tell me my tongue looked weird. I ignored them, but I still remember it. No, that's such a sad one. The social media, you guys, that we sometimes get things we don't love about it. With that one, honestly, a little cheeky way to respond, a little tongue out emoji would kind of be hilarious. But if you're not that sassy, I totally get it. And I agree with you. Sometimes high road is the way to go. You just say, oh, all right, noted, thanks. And then you move on. Oh, and Steven, thank you for resurfacing this. A question on what time of day to post. All right, you guys. Oh, I have a whole soapbox about this, and definitely have done this in previous sessions in boot camp. So sorry for anyone hearing this again. There is no best time of day to post. There just isn't. Because number one, if there was, every single brand, influencer, creator, and anyone on the platform would be posting at that exact time, which would then make it the absolute worst time to be posting, right? Because then everyone's doing it. However, there are optimal times to be posting. And I think the best way to look at it is in your own analytics. If you go into Instagram or TikTok and you can go into your analytics, it will typically tell you when people are online and engaging with your content. Now, to be honest, when I look at those, most of the time, it's like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. is when people are online. It's like, no duh, people are awake, they're engaging. So what I like to tell people is, hey, first and foremost, I'd rather you post, even if it's at the most random time of day, than not post at all, right? If you're like, ooh, I should have posted this earlier, I'll post it tomorrow, and then it never happens, I'd rather you just post it in the moment. But if you're looking for better times of day to post, more optimal advice, I would say earlier in the mornings gives your content the whole day to gain traction, or focusing on times when you typically are online, right? When are we always, most of us, online? Before work, on our lunch breaks, in between meetings, maybe, and after work or before bed, right? That's still 5 times a day that you're probably hitting people. So it doesn't need to be something you overly worry about or obsess over. However, I would say earlier in the day is probably going to do better than late at night, unless you're specifically targeting, like I'm trying to hit everybody before they go to bed for whatever reason. Weekends can also be a great time to post because we're all not working, and probably a lot of us are spending a good chunk of that time scrolling, right? So if you're not posting on weekends, that can be a great way to do that as well. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me know if anyone has follow-ups or confusion there, but there's no best time overall. But if you're going to default to something, I'd say earlier in the day just gives you more runway to see how it goes throughout the day. Okay. This has been great, you guys. I'm going to try to speed through a little bit because we're not even a third of the way through this and we're almost at time. So we're going to run through. But another quick thing that I touch on a lot in bootcamp as well, better hooks is what gets you that better watch time. So if you haven't already started doing the triple hook strategy, I highly recommend. This is essentially where instead of just focusing on what you're saying to hook people in, you want to make sure you have something visual and you want to have text on screen. And honestly, the most important one that I would focus on is having that text on screen because we read a lot faster than we can process audio. So even if you have a really good hook that you're saying out loud, people might not stick around all 3 seconds to hear you say it unless you have it written on the screen. So have your hook written on the screen, have something cool going on, whether it's a camera zoom or just, it could be you in your car, it could be you at your desk, something visual. It doesn't have to be incredibly fancy, but the visual hook plus the text hook plus what you're saying gives more chances to hook people in and can increase your watch time to get it past that 3 seconds. And then once you've got it at 5, 8, 10 seconds, then you get to start being like, okay, how do I get people to stick around longer? What about my content is going to be interesting? So if you're not really sure where to start, problem solution hooks work really well. So saying, hey, are you dealing with this problem? Let me tell you how I help solve it for my clients. Boom. Super easy. You're getting people to want to stick around to hear the solution. Niche details and identifiers, same thing. If you're a millennial who feels outpriced in Orange County, let me tell you how I blah, 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 right? Great. Results-based hook, let me show you how I just saved a client $9,000. Amazing. I'm going to stick around to hear that story. And then if you can build tension at all, right? If you can kind of say, hey, there are 3 things that I tell buyers not to do. The last one is the one I see most often and will cost you the most money. Let's get into it. Okay, I built tension to make you want to stay to the end. That's going to help hopefully increase my watch time overall. So a little bit of a mini challenge for you guys in your content. Maybe it's this month, next week, next thing you go to post, try to increase your average watch time past the first 3 seconds. So that's just if you're still like, hey, my views are capped at like 200 views and I can't quite get more than that, focus on your watch time. If you're seeing an 18-second watch time or the comparison I have down here where it says this reel has a higher percentage of retention or view rate past 3 seconds than your typical reel, that means you're doing really well and you're on the right track. So those are 2 metrics that I would really focus on if you're looking to improve overall. All right. And then, okay, we're going to blaze through platform updates and then I'll get back to questions and we can stay on late if we need to. But I know everyone has like meetings going and I don't want to go too long here. But platform updates, anything you need to know first and foremost, and I've been on this soapbox for a while in boot camp and beyond, but hashtags are kind of officially useless. So TikTok and Instagram have both limited hashtags to 5 or less now. And LinkedIn, the VP of product that I mentioned before, they also said they're like, honestly, hashtags don't impact your distribution. So putting in a hashtag is no longer going to mean, oh, this gets shown to new people or this is going to this audience. Keywords are already all in your post, and that's what the algorithms are using. So there's really no need to use hashtags unless you have really specific use cases like, hey, I want to track this post or this type of post. So if you have a content series, it might be good to have a little branded hashtags that then you know, oh, if I'm posting this over and over, I can go click on that hashtag and scroll through all my same videos and know that it's all my content. Great. That can be a great way to use it. Or if you have a really key search term or something that's specific to you, you can still click on a hashtag and that does still take you to videos using that hashtag. So they're not entirely, something you can still use them if you really like them, if you're attached. But I would just say this year, I would so much prefer all of you shift your focus to keywords. So if you do a little bit of research and you either use TikTok or you use Google or Ask the Public. I think that's my next slide. Yep. Here's how to find keywords for anyone who wants to know. TikTok Creator Insights. So that's when you go on TikTok, you type in Creator Search Insight, and then you have to click that red button. And then it's going to show you all of the trending searches that people are looking for. So you can type in mortgage and then see people will be searching, what's a reverse mortgage or a second mortgage or helping pay off my parents' mortgage. And then those are topics that you could really easily turn into videos that are getting searched. So that's a better way to approach it rather than spending, 20 minutes worrying about what hashtag you're using. I'd rather you spend 5 or 10 minutes finding keywords, putting those in your content, and then I think you'll see a lot more results than worrying about hashtags overall. And the other site I like to use, it's called askthepublic.com. You get 3 free searches every day. And that's just a way where, again, you can put in something like down payment and it will break down in kind of like a wheel format. It'll show you the most commonly searched things on Google. It'll show you anything trending on social media, like hashtag. It will still show you hashtags and topics. And then you can kind of use that to say, oh, I see what people are talking about. And it's very cool. Oh, askthepublic.com. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Maybe that's not the right. Hang on. Let me find it for you guys because that may not be the right one. I just wrote that down because that's what I look for. But try Googling Ask the Public and maybe it's not .com. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Answer the Public. That's why. We're answering. We're not asking. I'm so sorry. There we go, you guys. Human, authentic content. We're just coming right back to it. Mistakes. But now I know that you're all now engaging with this, right? Because you're like, wait a minute, that's not right. So now I know you're all using it. So great job, everybody. Anyway, Answer the Public. I'm sorry there. So I would really recommend trying. There you go, Kel. Answerthepublic.com. Put it in the chat. Thank you so much. But yes, if you got blocked for that website at work, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to help you. Try TikTok. Go into TikTok. Or honestly, you guys, even on the social platforms, if you just search the terms that you want to be showing up for, if you're like, hey, I really want to show up for VA loans, or I really want to show up for Orange County loan officer, search that term, see what's popping up. And if your video isn't showing up and your content isn't, come through boot camp and I'll show you how to optimize your profile. Start putting those words in your content. Do hashtag Orange County loan officer in all of your posts, whatever it is, and put those keywords in there however you're comfortable so that you're starting to show up for those search terms. That's going to be a really great way of seeing more results without a ton of extra work. Okay, moving forward, because again, we're short on time this week, but I just have so much info for you guys, and hopefully this is helpful. I would love to hear, by the way, at the end of today's session or as we go, if you've learned something new or whatever you're finding super useful. I just love hearing it so that I know what else to cover in these going forward. So feel free to let me know in the chat or in the comments. Okay, here's a big one, super interesting, not affecting most people yet, but good to keep an eye on. Facebook is testing limiting links being shared in posts. So what Meta is doing is it's emailing some people, not many people, but some people saying, hey, you're not paying for our premium verified service. So you're now only allowed to share 2 posts that have links in them per month, or you have to start paying us. Very fascinating. I don't love this. But you know what? Facebook's going to Facebook. It's what they're doing. So what I would recommend, very rude. Yes, Amber, I agree. It's not a great update, but you know what? This is the way things are going. Streaming services, right? They're kicking everybody off, so you have to get your own account. It's all about monetization here. So what this means is in your content, you probably want to move away from directly putting links in your post. Most platforms already suppress any sort of post that has a link in it. Instagram, they are just not link compatible at all. Facebook, we've definitely seen research that kind of says, hey, they're kind of pushing those because they don't like you leaving the platform. LinkedIn has said that they actually don't do that. So by the way, LinkedIn is probably one of the only ones where if you put a link in a post, it is okay. However, what I end up seeing happening is if you put a link in a post, people click on it and they go away. They're not spending the time on your post, reading your post. And so that is meaning, hey, if there's less watch time on your post, the algorithm's like, oh, people aren't spending time on it, so it's probably not that useful, right? So yes, clicks matter, comments matter, all of that. But if that's why things like DM automation, things like ManyChat, where you say, comment this word and I'll send it to you via DM. Not only is that, hey, keeping you on the post, keeping you engaging with the post, I'm getting comments, I'm doing that. But then it's also connecting that post into your pipeline by saying, hey, I'm going to move this conversation to the DMs. I'm going to give you a resource there. And then it gives me a chance to follow up later and be like, hey, how was that? Did you have any other questions? Do you want to do a call really quick? I'd be happy to work with you. Right? So you're moving people further into that kind of more personal funnel and getting that lead to be a little bit stronger. So I already think this is a behavior a lot of us are seeing. If you want a quick step-by-step of how to set up an automation, the one I know is ManyChat. I do think it's free to do a few setups. Any of this, if you want something super advanced, you're going to have to pay. But essentially, I just wanted to give you guys a really quick overview. All you have to do is go to a site like ManyChat, set up an account. Then you connect whatever Instagram, Facebook page, whatever social media account you want, and then you choose a trigger. And so you have to set this up. It's a little bit complicated, but you set up a trigger and it would say something like, hey, if someone comments guide on any of my posts, then I want you to do this. And you would set up an auto reply that's like, hey, here's that homebuyer checklist for you. So this is why you see people either reusing the same words because then it ties to the same response, the same auto response. Or if you're going to set this up for multiple things, you want to make sure you're using different words. So you're not saying guide for everything and then you have 6 different checklists because then your automation is going to get really confused, right? So I typically choose a word that is a little bit more evergreen. You could say like comment calculator if you want me to send you the link, or comment resource and I'll send you XYZ. And then you can kind of swap that out depending. But that's something you can then work into your call to action in the video, in the post, wherever, and then you can test it with your next post. So that's just a really quick overview. This is not something Social Coach does for you. I just wanted to give you guys that walkthrough because I know a lot of people ask about it and aren't really sure where to get started. So go find ManyChat or whatever platform you like. If anyone has any recommendations that aren't ManyChat that you use and you love, drop them in the chat. We'd love to hear them. But otherwise, I'm going to keep going. So other update that I find really interesting is that carousels are soon going to be coming to YouTube. So again, this is a testing. This is not available yet. But I think this is really important because it clearly shows that YouTube is noticing that on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and LinkedIn, these carousels or multiple image slides, right, where you click or you swipe through on one post, they're doing really well because also when we talk about watch time, the more info you have, the more you're putting into your post that's keeping people dwelling or spending time on your post, the better your content performs. So YouTube, which is an all video platform, this is kind of blowing my mind that they're bringing this in, but they're starting to consider adding carousels into their shorts feed as well, which is their like short form video. So again, this isn't there yet, but it's something to keep in mind that if you haven't done carousel content, it's a big untapped place of potential. So if you have a marketing team or designers that you work with and you can be doing even like one carousel a month, it's something that could be really great to take some of your top performing videos, put them in a carousel so it's something people can read and swipe through, and then have that all tie together back into your strategy, right? So takeaway here is that honestly, a lot of the platforms are losing a little bit of differentiation. They're all looking at each other and going, oh, that's working. I want to do that, right? I talk about TikTok does that all the time. So TikTok will do it. And then Instagram's like, we should be doing that too. And then TikTok kind of goes, okay, we're going to do that because it works with Instagram. So they're all kind of going back and forth. So it means ideally that you don't have to spend as much time kind of making a brand new asset or post for every platform, but it does mean that your message needs to be really strong across all of them because it's different audiences, different places, right? So just an interesting thing to be keeping in mind as you're going. But YouTube is really well known for the SEO, right? The search and the keywords. So if you're making sure those carousels or whatever content you have really good keywords, that's what I would focus on most on YouTube. So happy to answer questions there. Oh, and then I'm going to throw in one quick tip for Social Coach users. So for anyone who don't and isn't perusing our script library probably as often as I am, we have some new script categories. So I just wanted to highlight, we've been adding a section called no talking scripts. So those are like, Phil, what you were talking about, those B-roll videos where you just record yourself at your computer or on the phone walking outside and you put text on screen. We've started adding in a couple videos and scripts like that where you can help fill in the text using our template. And then all you have to do is record a video of you doing something, or maybe you already have one. You upload it, and then our team will build out that B-roll for you, and you can auto-post it. So hopefully people have been seeing those. I've been adding those in. We also have a new category called personal expertise. So the way I've been trying to help with those storytelling templates or scripts, or using like client stories and testimonials, I've been trying to add in a couple more like that. If anyone ever has ideas for scripts, by the way, you can email us at Social Coach. You can either respond to the weekly newsletter we send out, or you can reach me at marketing@socialcoach.io. I love hearing if you guys are like, I'm dying for a script on this topic, but I just don't know how to structure it. Email me. We loved it. We loved getting that feedback. It's great. We also have a category for my video pages. So for anyone who doesn't know, it's our one-to-one video messaging feature. So that's where you could either record a video and send it via text or email to an agent or a client or something there. I try to write scripts that are evergreen. So it's something that you could either put in your CRM and just blast out to your network, or something that you record once and then can act like you're sending one-on-one to be really personal outreach, but then you don't have to sit and re-record it every single time. So that's where that comes in really handy. It's something you could just record. I think we have like a check-in script for if you want to check in with referral partners over the weekend. We definitely have milestone scripts. So if it's like, hey, your pre-approval has officially cleared. Here's next steps. You can obviously customize those to fit your process, but just some ideas to get you guys going so that you have a way to personalize your outreach a bit more. And we think it's a really, really cool feature. You can put a call to action button so you can send it to your clients and then have a call me or text me any questions right under it. And then you can distribute that via email, text, whatever you want. And then lastly, there's like a template section, which I'm not sure if people always know what that means, but it's templates that are a lot more easy to customize. So it's kind of like a testimonial template or an intro video template, things that maybe you should have on your socials, but maybe don't. But it's something that you can go in there, and we've just built out some templates that are really easy to customize. So if you're not on Social Coach and you want to know more about what we do, how it benefits you, you can comment social on any of the platforms or reach out to our team, and we'd be happy to give you a quick walkthrough. But please go use all the scripts because I love writing them and I love seeing you guys use them and personalize them, because honestly, no matter what I put out there, all of you put something different, a different spin on every script. And it's really, really cool to see. Okay, and then last little Social Coach thing, I just wanted to give a huge shout out. We had such an amazing year, and so many people did so many things through our platform that we pulled out a lot of these metrics. And I just want to speak to the power of consistency, right? That's our word for 2026. When you stay consistent, you do see the results. So I just wanted to break this down across, hey, total posts shared. You guys shared over 200,000 posts this year or last year, which is an average of about 44 posts per person. So that's a little bit less than once a week, which is really, really good across the board. I know we have people who do way more. I know we have people who are like, you know what, I only did that like once a month. But hey, it does average out in different ways. But I think it's really great to see, hey, when you stick with it and when you hopefully have tools or a platform like Social Coach that helps you do that and helps make it easy to stay consistent, you can really see a lot of results. So everyone, we had over 2 million, and everyone who uses Social Coach grew their followers by about 2 million total. So that's about 382 followers per person on average. It's just amazing, amazing growth. And then we have numbers on the scripts that people recorded, projects edited, thousands and thousands of videos and content going out. And I just wanted to show you guys that it's really, really incredible. And the number one thing I actually wanted to highlight too is if you'll notice where people posted the most last year, Facebook was the above and beyond clear winner. Then we had LinkedIn and Instagram. And if anyone can read what's at the very bottom there, it's one of my absolute favorite platforms. And I'm a little sad that it's not getting more love, and that's TikTok. So if I have another challenge for you guys this year, I know TikTok can feel scary or intimidating. I would really highly recommend the video content you have. Try putting it on TikTok, try putting it on YouTube, try it on these other platforms because they just have such exponential potential for growth, right? We've all seen the TikTok videos that just happen to go viral for no reason. If you already have the content out there, try putting it on those platforms because really, truly, you can reach hundreds of thousands, millions of people with just even one or two posts. Is that going to happen for everyone? No, but the potential is there. And if you're already doing the content, just put it on other platforms to see if you can get that visibility. And on TikTok, honestly, authenticity is the key, right? It's not meant to be polished. It's meant to be kind of, I'm in my car, I'm just sharing some advice, and it's a lot more casual. So that can actually be a really, really fun place for people to go try. So I would really recommend leveraging your tools to help you stay consistent, creating a process so you know, hey, I'm posting once a week and I'm sticking to it. And then for anyone who wants a little bit of challenge, try TikTok because I'm really sad that more of you aren't. And I really think that there's a lot of potential there, right? If only 10% of people are posting on TikTok and you're one of those 10%, you might see a lot more growth this year. Just saying. So there's your challenge. If anyone is going to try TikTok, I'd love to see a thumbs up, an emoji, go TikTok, maybe cheerleader in the comments. And now we have 5 minutes. We're going to run through these so quick. So sorry, this is recorded. This will be on YouTube. So for anyone who has to jump for a meeting and wants these trending videos, you can also, we have them in a document. So if you either email me, comment, whatever you want, trends, we will make sure you get this. Or if you go back on YouTube later, we'll make sure it's linked in the description of the video. But we're going to make sure that all of these trends are something that you have and you're able to use. So first trend, prepping for 2026. This is so funny. I loved this. So this was an office, a front desk office saying us preparing for 2026 and all the things that they're going to have to deal with, right? Your copays change, explaining your verification, 2026 insurance updates. I feel like this is something you guys could so do as real estate agents, loan experts, loan advisors, whatever it is. All you're going to do is just say me, and you're going to pretend to be stretching. You could pretend to be picking up your phone, right? How fast can I pick up the phone? How quickly can I type out a pre-approval? Just do some fun, silly clips of you doing that and then put on the screen in text, here are all the things I'm prepared to do. I'm prepared to run last minute pre-approvals for my buyers. I'm ready to get to the closing table faster. I'm ready to smack down over those negotiations, whatever it is. So I'll show you the full example of that video really quick. I'll pull it up. So if we want to play it, you can kind of see how it's going. Sorry if the sound's a little off here. I don't even know if the sound's going. Strange. Okay, well, hopefully that played. And if not, basically all they were doing is they were just acting like they were doing reps of different things that they do in their daily routine. So I think this is a great one where you guys can get really silly with it too, right? You can pretend to be doing push-ups or picking up the phone or typing or like racing each other through the office, like, and then tying it to something you're doing. Okay, sorry, chat. I don't know why we couldn't see anything there. Appreciate you telling me that. But essentially, this isn't super hard, and it will be in that trends document. So we'll share the link to that, and it'll all be, I have the example video linked, I have kind of text examples, and then there's the audio as well. So that makes it nice and easy for you guys. But essentially, this is just a really good one to be like, hey, I'm prepared, I'm ready for the year, and here's what I will do for you as my client. This is a great one to do it, and it's nice and easy and pretty fun. Okay, number two, same kind of concept, your rules for home buyers in 2026 or your rules for your ideal target audience. So this could work for any service-based business person, salesperson, platform. But essentially, you only need 10 seconds of you doing anything. I would recommend that it involves movement. Maybe it's you getting in your car, walking in or out of your office. Sometimes sitting at your desk and like typing or something can work, but I think sometimes that's not a lot of movement, right? So this person's doing kind of like an outfit that they're showing off. You don't always have to do that. It could be your dog's running in a field. It could be just a slow pan of a home, right? It doesn't really matter what you put in the background. I think movement is good. I think if it's personal to you, even better. But all you have to do is add in text on top, your rules for 2026. And I would recommend having your rules be for your ideal client. And then maybe saying as qualified by saying as a loan officer, as a real estate agent, here are my rules for home buyers in 2026, right? And then you just list it. Hey, if you are waiting for rates to drop to be able to afford it, you actually can't. Right? Be a little bit harsh, be a little bit sassy. You don't have to if that's not your vibe, but you could say, hey, my advice, don't put 20% down even if you have it in the bank. And then you're going to get people commenting like, what? Why? Why not? What does that mean? And then you can explain. If that's your opinion, you can explain, right? My rule, you should work with me to improve your credit score 3 months before you even get pre-approved. Because great, I could probably increase it by 20 points. We could save you thousands, whatever it is, right? So you can make these really, really hyper specific, and you can even tease it. Never waive the inspection. Let me tell you my horror story in the caption, right? This is all stuff that makes us want to lean in. It makes us go, ooh, I want to know why that's a rule, what's behind that. And it's really easy because you guys probably have a bunch of rules, right? Don't buy a couch when you're in escrow. Don't finance all your furniture or a new car, right? All the things that we just know you can put in there and really easily do that. All right. Third one, this is actually, we're going to reverse the trend. So this trend is one where they're saying, sorry, I can't hear you, or I can't answer my phone. I'm kind of busy. That is not the message any of you want to be sending to your clients, right? So I actually think this trend would be a great one to flip over and kind of say instead, hey, I'm so committed to my clients. So what they do in this video is they show a bunch of clips of their busy day, right? So maybe they're on a photo shoot or they're out. For you guys, it'd be right, like I'm out running around doing listings and an open house, or I'm fielding calls all day. I'm doing all these different things. I'm working on spreadsheets. I'm consulting with the underwriter, right? Like you're running all over. So what I want you to do instead is say POV, right? Me answering every client call, even on days that look like this. So kind of instead of saying, hey, I'm too busy for you because I'm off doing fun things, that's the trend that's going around. You can use the same audio, but change the text to actually be like, even when my days are hectic, this is the service you get, right? And then you're still able to show behind the scenes of all the things you do for your clients that they maybe don't even realize. And so you're highlighting your credibility, your trustworthiness without making them feel bad. So some examples there, right? What it looks like to achieve blank for my clients, whatever result it is. And then you show a bunch of clips of them shaking hands or getting the keys to their house or at the closing table, right? You could say what I do for my clients behind the scenes so they don't even have to deal with it, right? So this could be, you could take this in a really different direction, but I kind of like the idea of flipping the like, oh, sorry, I don't have time for you, I'm too busy, and turning that trend into something that's like, actually, I always make time for you even when I'm busy. So hopefully that makes sense, but it's as easy as either one clip or a bunch of little clips of things you do in a day, and then you just put the text on top, and then you can put in the caption like, hey, even when I'm running around, I make sure you're the priority. This is important to me. I'll make sure you're taken care of in 2026 and beyond, right? Great message, easy video, nice and easy. And then the last one, and this one's really, really cute and fun, but it's essentially what a privilege. So there's this sound, this audio. I'm going to see if this one will work for me. So I'm going to click play on this and see if you guys can see the example. And if not, I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening.
Look out your window and see this.
Oh man, take a look at my life. I'm alive.
Okay, hopefully that worked. I'm sorry if that didn't show up for whatever reason. My little stream service is being a little finicky. But essentially all it is the sound says, what a privilege to walk out your window or your door and your window and see this in front of you. And I just think that's a concept we can all translate really easily. So all you have to do, you could take a 20-second clip of you just walking out your office door and acting like you're staring out at this grand view. But then instead of showing the view, you can show client testimonials and proof. You could put things on the screen that show a bunch of 5-star reviews. You could show clips if you have them of people at closings, people being happy, people enjoying their home if they send you those, right? But it's a way to show this social proof in a way that doesn't feel like bragging. So you can kind of say like, what a privilege privilege it is to have a job where I get messages every day from clients like this. And you put texts and emails of them being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you got that cleared. Oh my gosh, you saved us. We couldn't have done this without you, right? You're putting all those messages on the screen in a way that is letting them speak for you and kind of say, wow, this is such a good person to work with. Look at all these messages, the reviews, whatever content and proof you have. But it's just you walking out of your office being like, wow, what a privilege it is to have this. And then you can put it all on screen. And again, with any of these trends, as long as you have the content, if you upload these to Social Coach in a project, we can help splice all that together for you with the vision. But it's something like we can't record it for you, right? You have to record it. And if you have those screenshots or those reviews and you can upload those with the project, then our editors will splice that on top. So you don't have to worry about adding all the little pieces and putting it all together with the audio and all of that. So just something to know, if you have our Video Catalyst service, our editors are great and we can make sure we help you with that. Okay. And then, I don't even think my slides are working on the stream. So sorry, it's just been darkness for a minute. But that's what I have for you guys. I know we ran over. Thank you for bearing with me. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to stay on and answer them. But if you'd like more from us, please follow us on social media. We share tips every single week. That's our series. Our content series is our Tip Tuesdays, with a lot more coming. We also have a newsletter you can subscribe to called The Huddle. And then, of course, following us on social and coming to boot camp, we try to provide a lot more resources. And we do this call specifically every month, usually the first Thursday, but that was New Year's, so we didn't do it then. But if you want to come back to these, I believe on the next slide I have, on the next slide I have the trends and then more from Social Coach. And then here we go. You can scan here and you can register, add this to your calendar, or we always go live on socials. For anyone who's on social watching this, you can join, but sometimes I just think we forget that that's happening. So that's okay. But you can join us then. I'm going to make sure all the past sessions and the recording of this one are all on our YouTube. So if you want to go watch old ones, the December one, I did a huge recap and prediction for 2026. So if you want to go back and get any knowledge from that, you can. All of them have really good info and they all have 4 trends. So if you want to go back and collect all those trends and use those for the next 3 or 4 months for your content, you absolutely can do that. And I'm going to go back to that slide really quick because I think we skipped over it. There is a QR code here. This is where you can scan, back one more, sorry. I think there's 2 more. Sorry, one more. Oh no, it didn't make it in this deck. Okay, just kidding. I'm so sorry, everybody. I have a QR code with the trends. If you aren't seeing it here, maybe we can grab that. Vanessa, if you're on the call, if you can grab that and put it in the chat, that would be awesome. If not, email me, marketing@socialcoach.io. I will make sure you guys get this. Or go on the YouTube and you can comment there. But it's just trends. We have a document. It's a Google Sheet. Sorry for anyone who can't access Google through your employer. I can send you a PDF if you really need. But we have all of those trends linked there and you can build them out and it'll make it nice and easy. So that's what we've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy to stay and answer questions. Sorry for the slight technical difficulties, the authenticity, if you will. But definitely appreciate all of you engaging. And let's see. Oh, Matthew, I post daily AI images that have been popular. How can I leverage that for TikTok and YouTube? Okay, interesting. So if they're AI images, I would say your best bet with any images or with carousels is to add music to them when you're posting on Instagram, on TikTok, and what was the other one you mentioned? YouTube potentially. So YouTube may not let you yet because they're only video based currently, but they're testing that feature. But for TikTok and Instagram, here's another hack for you guys. When you're posting your carousels, which are those multiple image ones, if you add a trending sound or music or audio, what happens is the platforms then also push that out in the Reels feed as if it was a video. So that's another reason those tend to do really well. They get put on the Explore page. They could get pushed out more. They get more attention. So that's where adding music to those could do better. But Matthew, if the AI stuff is working for you, that's great. Then you found something that works and keep going. Sabina, please send QR and PDF to my email. Sabina, will you email me? Because I can't see everyone's emails on here. But if you're able to just say to marketing@socialcoach.io, I'm going to put it right here in the chat. If you just email me the word trends, I will get it to you. So don't worry about it. I'll make sure. Thanks, Ashley, from Martin and Charlie. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys being here. All right. Well, thank you all. That's what I've got. If you need the trends document, again, email me. So sorry about that. I had the QR code already, you guys, and it just didn't show up. But QR code is there. You can scan to access, or you can email me and I will make sure you get that. But email me trends. I'll get it back to you. We'll have that sorted for next time. And I hope to see you guys all next month and in boot camp. If you wanted to sign up for boot camp for February, we'd love to see you there. All right. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your month and week, and see you next time.